Meanwhile, the war in Ukraine is now entering day 19. Fox News' Peter Doocy is in Washington this morning with more on the Biden administration's response to the global chaos. Peter, good morning to you.
Good morning, Maria. And the latest is the latest fits with what we've been hearing from the Biden White House. They told us late last night that he had a conversation with Emmanuel Macron in France and that the two of them were discussing recent diplomatic engagements and their efforts to make sure that Russia is held accountable for what they are doing. But this White House is almost entirely focusing their response on financial punishment. The president, one of the most colorful bites that he's had recently was at the end of last week, where he said that the reason that the Russian stock market remains closed is because once it opens, he says it's going to blow up. But it's all financial. He means it financially. They are not going to send U.S. troops into Ukraine, and it sounds like that's a no matter what situation. The red line for this president continues to be that they're not going to get involved militarily unless or until Putin attacks a NATO ally. But as long as Ukraine remains outside of NATO, which they do, it doesn't sound like this president is ever going to give the order to send U.S. troops in. And that includes if President Putin decides to do what apparently U.S. intelligence is suggesting, which is get chemical weapons involved on the battlefield. President Biden is saying that if that happens, Putin will pay a severe price, but they are not outlining what the severe price is. And based on everything this president has said about the Ukraine conflict, that would be financial. Maria?
Well, Peter, thanks for holding truth to power all the time there in those White House briefing rooms. Peter, there's been a lot of skepticism about this administration's response, not just about, not sending troops, but outlining everything that it won't do publicly, but at the same time, not sending the MiGs, not doing enough for Ukraine, while also working with Russia on an Iran deal. Have you asked the White House spokespeople why it is that while they decry and denounce Russia's invasion and constant aggression, they're still working alongside Russia to get the United States back into an Iran deal? Because I don't understand this policy.
I have, Maria, because Iran is, after all, one of the only state sponsors of terror, according to the U.S. State Department. Right. Basically their answer is they think it is most important to stop Iran or to keep Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. Now, whether or not the Iran deal actually does that remains to be seen. But in a very awkward diplomatic kind of maneuver, because the Iranians will not talk directly to the U.S., we are asking the Russians to be a go-between and to sit next to us at the table in Switzerland, and that continues today.
Unbelievable. All right, Peter, we'll be watching your reporting, your excellent reporting. Thank you, Peter.